Welcome back. Now that we've analyzed the LEQ structure, hopefully you now have an understanding of how to write it. As I mentioned in the previous video, analyzing historical events are key to writing a good AP World FRQ, especially the LEQ. You're required to use some sort of historical reasoning, whether it would be causation, analyzing continuity and changes over time, or comparison. So how do you actually analyze a piece of historical event using historical reasoning? This is where the pre-writing part comes in handy. And my advice is that you should do this for the DBQ as well. But for things like the LEQ especially, you should always try and make a rough essay plan before you actually get to writing. And this basically helps you to clearly structure your essay and give you a sense of direction. And this way, it can help you to panic less and think more about how to clearly state your argument to the prompt. And you can do this in your head, but I still strongly recommend using any blank space you have on your test booklet to roughly write down what your main points are and which points you will specifically bring up for each main body paragraph. Now, obviously, you do not need to write full sentences during this process, but just get into the habit of leaving rough, quick notes that you can easily recognize so that it can guide you in writing your essay and hopefully help you earn a better score. And yes, when you're timing yourself practicing an LEQ, you should also include this step within the time constraint so that, well, you can actually mimic test day and see what it's like. Okay, so when you finish your pre-writing part, you should have thought of your thesis and contextualization, all your main points, all that. But most importantly, which historical reasoning you're going to use. And this really depends on the prompt, argument, and thinking method that you're the most comfortable with. But in general, you should have thought of at least two historical events that you can really talk about. What I mean by that is two historical events that you can really explain in detail and just easily compare, analyze, and pick apart. This is where the memorization bit of AP World History comes in handy, because with the limited time you have to write a handwritten essay like the LEQ, you should be able to recall the main important events about a historical event you learned in class.